Yeah, hello. Today in the XG6, I want to going again to practice speaking and reading in English. And topic is a day without a plan. Sarah, hey Husni, hey Sarah, are you busy today? Not really. Really? Yeah. You usually have something planned, not today. So you have a completely free day, pretty much. How does that feel? A little change. Why? I'm used to having things I need to do. So what are you going to do? I don't know yet. You're actually going to decide later. Yeah, that's unusual for you. I know. Do you usually plan for your day? Most of the time. Why? It helps me stay focused. Does it always work? Not always. What happened? Sometimes I make a lot list and then I finish only half of it. How do you feel? Little disappointed. Why? Because I feel like I didn't do enough. Even if you finish half of the list, yeah, maybe your list was too long. That's probably true. Then the problem isn't always your productivity. Maybe it's my expectation. Exactly. So, do you plan everything? Not everything. What do you plan? Important things like work, okay, appointment, makes sense, travel, definitely. But I don't plan every minute in my day. Why not? Because unexpected thing happens. Okay, that's true. Someone calls you or sends you a message or you suddenly feel tired or hungry, especially hungry. There's always unexpected, not really. Okay, fair point. Do you think people are too obsessed with productivity? Sometimes. Why? Because we're consistently told to do more. More work, more learning, more exercise, more everything. Exactly. And if you're resting, you feel guilty. Have you ever felt guilty for resting? Many times. Why? I think I feel like I should always be doing something useful. But can as usual, that's the problem. Maybe resting is useful too. I know that logically, but it's harder to believe emotionally. What do you do when you actually rest? I watch something, movies, something, YouTube usually. Do you feel guilty? Sometimes. Even when you're tired? Yeah, that's not very fair to yourself. Maybe you're right. You can't work all the time. I know. You need breaks. I know. You need sleep. I definitely know that. And then, why don't you do it? Because I'm still learning how to balance things. That's really something everyone's lacking with. What does a balanced life look like to you? That's difficult questions. Take your time. I think it means having enough time for different parts of your life, such as work, okay, family, okay, important, friend, of course, yourself. That's probably the one people forget. Exactly. What does spending time with yourself mean? Doing things you actually enjoy. Feeling guilty? Yes, that's difficult. Why? Because we're used to measuring everything through by productivity. Exactly. And then, what do you enjoy doing when nobody expects anything from you? That's interesting. What comes to mind? Walking around, just walking, yeah, without a destination. Sometimes, why? It clears my mind. Do you listen to music? Sometimes, or podcasts? Sometimes, or do you just walk? Sometimes I just walk. That sounds peaceful. It is. Maybe we should do that more often. Probably. When was the last minute? When was the last time you did something completely spontaneous? I don't remember. Seriously? Yeah, I'm usually pretty organized. That's not the same as spontaneous. I know. You should try it. Try what? Doing something without planning. Like what? We could go somewhere right now. Where? I don't know. That's the point. Exactly. Dazzlingly uncomfortable. Why? Because I don't know what's going to happen. That's what makes it interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's do it. Really? Yeah. Where should we go? You said you wanted to be spontaneous, right? So he chose. That's not how this works. Why not? Because you're supposed to choose. Why? Because I just said that terrible argument. It's a perfectly reasonable argument. Fine. So let's go somewhere you've never been. Now we're talking. Do you think experience are more valuable than things? Usually. Why? Because experience stay with you. Things done. They can. But you get used to them. That's true. You visit a new phone, you're excited for a few days, then it becomes normal. But a good trip, you can remember it for years. Exactly. What the best experience you've ever had? That's difficult. Why? There have been so many. Pick one. Okay, I'm listening. A trip to a trip I took with my friends. Where did you go? To a small town near the mountains. What was special about it? Nothing extraordinary happened, really. Yeah. Then why was it memorable? Because we had to no responsibilities for a few days. That sounds nice. We talk about what? Everything. Work, sometimes life, a lot. The future, definitely. Sounds familiar. Maybe we will always end up talking about the future. What do you want your future to look like? I want it to be stable. What does stable mean? Having a job I can depend on. Okay. Having enough money to live comfortably makes sense. Having time for myself important. And having people around me that I care about. That's a good future. What about you? I don't know exactly. Really? No. Does that scare you? A little. Why? Because I feel like I'm supposed to know to say that. Society. That's a big word. But it's true. Maybe nobody really knows, maybe. Do you think it's okay not to have everything figured out? Yes, even when you're getting older, especially then. Why? Because life keeps changing. So our plans change too. Exactly. Maybe having a plan isn't about knowing everything. Then what is what is it about knowing this next step? Okay, I like that. You don't need to know where you will be in 10 years. You just need to know what you're doing next. Exactly. What's your next step? Keep learning anything specific, improving my programming skills, and improving my English, and look my opportunities. Sounds good. What about you? My next step is probably learning to relax. That's actually harder than it sounds. I know. Maybe you need a day without a plan. Maybe like today, exactly. You know what? What? I'm glad we didn't plan this conversation. Me too. We started by talking about having a free day and ended up talking about life again. It always happens. Maybe that's what conversations are for. What do you mean? Sometimes you don't know what you're thinking until you say it out loud. That's true. Talking helps organize your thoughts, especially when someone listens. Yeah, exactly. So, where are we going? I thought you were choosing. I changed my mind already. Yes, okay, let's just walk. No destination? Yeah, no destination. For how long? Until we're tired. That's a good plan. It's the only plan we have today. Sometimes that's enough. Yeah, let's go. Okay, thank you everyone for watching my videos and see you next time.